We're live right now. How's everyone doing on this beautiful Wednesday morning? Yo, good morning, good morning. Apologies for my voice at the moment. I'm pretty sick. My voice is kind of gone. But how's everyone doing? How's everyone doing on this beautiful morning? Good, good. That's great, brother. I'm glad. Good morning, Ollie. How are you, brother? Good morning, everybody. Good morning, David. Good morning, Alan. So, guys, let's look at what's going on. Stay hydrated, exactly. I'm trying to stay hydrated. Let's look what's coming up today. So, at the moment, what do we have coming in today is we have quite a lot of news. We have FOMC this evening. So at around 8 p.m. we have federal funds rate and FOMC, and then at 8:30 we have our FOMC press conference. So it's looking pretty hectic. Good morning. Good morning, Frederic. What's going on, brother? So it's looking pretty hectic for us. We are going to see less volatility in the market, most likely. What is most likely going to happen is market is going to be gearing up for FOMC. So in the next couple of hours, it isn't going to be anything out of the ordinary if we don't see much movement in the market. Just looking at the market this morning, I'm not opposed to trading before FOMC, but I'm gonna be pretty risk adverse today. What I mean by that is I'm definitely not gonna be jumping into any positions that could be of any risk. Number one, because we've started the week off pretty good, and number two is that the market just isn't looking that clean this morning. FOMC is historically not the greatest day to trade. We do see the market slow down before FOMC, so it's not anything out of the ordinary. I'm not surprised, and it is what it is. We should see, I think tomorrow we have we have quite a lot of GBP news, and then we also have quite a lot of USD news. So tomorrow should be should correct everything that happens in FOMC. Now, thoughts for FOMC, to be honest with you guys. Let's look. So let's start off with GBP USD. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make this full screen. So let's start with GBP USD. So at the moment on GBP USD, this is what I'm currently looking for. So I honestly do have a short-term target at around 1.32. So 1.32. So my short-term target is around here. This is where we're going to see GBP transact to if we keep transacting to the downside. I'm looking for GBP USD to transact a little bit further to the downside today. Now, will that happen today in FOMC? I think so, to be honest with you. I think we're going to be pretty bearish on GBP USD. I think we're going to see GBP USD transact to the downside from at around 1.32 flat. Now, what we could expect is for GBP USD to transact a little bit higher in the next couple of sessions. So in the next couple of hours, we will see GBP USD most likely keep transacting to the upside for the short remainder of the day until FOMC. So what we could see is we could see GBP USD coming down to our 61.8, to our 50 MA, and then what we could look for is just a short. I would not go further than, I'll go for around a 1:2, 1:3. We could even aim for 61.8, so 1:3, but I would not rush anything today, to be honest with you guys. It is FOMC day. It is risky. The market is gearing up for a massive move to the up or downside in news. So to be honest with you, what I will do is I will wait for the market to give me a good entry. At the moment, GBP USD isn't looking the worst, to be honest. It isn't looking the worst, and I do see possibility of upside on GBP USD, but I think I would be quite hesitant to being high risk, and I will honestly wait for FOMC, because FOMC historically is quite a big move, and I think that because our short-term target in the next couple of days is around 1.32, I am pretty certain that we may transact further to the downside to take out that short-term target. A lot of stuff is pointing to that. If we go to DXY at the moment, let's check out DXY. So DXY at the moment is having a little bit of a move to the downside. What I'm looking to see is how this next 4-hour candle closes. Hi, is this confirmed trade? No, we're just looking at, I'll confirm all the trades at the end of the stream. I'm going to structure this in the future, because I think people are finding it a little bit difficult to follow. So I'll go through all the trades in the stream, and then once the stream is like 5 minutes or 10 minutes left, what we'll do is we'll go through every single trade, and I'll tell you which one to set a limit, which one to that's just an idea and to keep an eye on. I hope that's going to help you guys, because I think a lot of people are finding it a little bit different, finding it a little bit confusing. There's so many trades I'm going through on the stream, and I think it will be better if I do that. It will be a little bit better if I do that. So at the moment, DXY. Now DXY is pretty interesting. Why? Because DXY is in also a little bit of a decision phase. So I mean, obviously, if DXY keeps transacting to the downside to around, I would say 101,200, 101,202. What's up, Samuel? What's up, Michael? Chopper? What's up, brother? So what I'm looking for is for DXY to keep transacting a little bit lower. What we can most likely see is DXY transacting in this zone over here. Now, why do I think it's going to transact in this zone? Number one, because we have our TCM level. Number two is because our 50 MA on the 4-hour is slowly transacting to the upside, and we're pretty close into tapping it. Now, what have we seen in the last couple of scenarios when we tap the 50 MA? Price does normally bounce to the upside. We've seen it once. We've seen it on the 200 MA. We've seen it on the 50 again. Oops. So we see it quite often. And to be honest with you, if we do hold this level at around 1.3, what's it? 101,200. Just a little bit question. Why can't I receive notification from you, Thomas, on the Discord? Chopper, can you open up a ticket in the Discord saying that you can't get any notifications? Because I have had a lot of people say that, and I do think it is an ongoing issue at the moment. So please just open a ticket at the in the Discord, and then that should be good. Let me know if that's possible. Just please open a ticket with John, and then everything should be chilled. We'll sort it out. But I do think there is a bit of a notification problem. I have not run through NASDAQ yet. So I'm just going to speak about the dollar at the moment. But what I see on the dollar is around 101.200 is where we most likely to stop. So what we can do is, let's just hide this. So this is what I'm looking at. It will make a lot of sense, to be very honest with you. So 101.200. Okay, let's just draw a line at 101.200. Short term target. Okay, so short term target. Oh my God. So let's look at this quickly. Give me one sec. Okay, so at the moment, what I'm looking for, this is our short-term target. Why? Because, again, we have our TCM level, we have our 50 MA, and we have our momentum line for the month. So now what I'm looking at is what else shows us that price could transact higher from that level. Okay, we have our 78 fib on the 4 hour, and if we take it here, I'm pretty sure we'll have our 61.8. Yeah, so we have our 61.8. If we take this full leg, if we take this leg, we have our 78. So the 101.200, 101.220 region is where I most likely am looking to see a bit of a bounce. So let's make this blue, and let's say area of turbulence. Okay, so in this level over here, what if you guys can everyone see this? Let me know in the chat if everyone can see this clearly. Is everything clear? Let me know if everything's clear. Just type in the chat if everything's clear. Yes? Okay, amazing. Yes. Okay, thanks David for letting me know. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get that sorted out for you. I will just send me a DM on Discord, and then we can I'll speak to John as well. So I'll let you know. So exactly. So what I'm most likely to see is this area over here. Now, what is most likely going to happen is price will transact to around this level over here, maybe lowest to here, lowest. But what I want to see is price bounce from here. So then we can see price bounce from here and then transact to our main target at around 101.800. And now, how does it support our GBP USD trade? Well, let's see. So, as I said to you guys, we can see quite a similar thing at the moment. We can see price transacting within this pocket, okay? So now what we can do is we can say, we know that DXY is most likely going to transact a little bit lower, correct? We need to transact a little bit lower. Now, if we know that the XY is going to transact a little bit lower, why would we not take advantage of that? Okay, let me just change this because this color is a bit irritating. So why would we not take advantage of that, and why would we not look to take a small short-term long, and we can take a short-term long at around a 1:2, 1:3 max, and then remember, we're saying that DXY is most likely to transact further to the upside. Everything is lining up for DXY to transact further to the upside. Now, remember what I did say earlier on in the stream is that our target for the week and our target is around 1.32 flat. Now, if we can see FOMC, come in bearish for the GBP USD, so that will have to come in pretty bullish for, and we'll have to see everything look quite bullish, which it normally does. Look, everything is apparently always bullish for BTC, everything, dollar. It's a bit of a joke, but anyways. But what I'm thinking now is we're gonna take advantage of DXY transacting further to the downside. We take a small short-term long, and then what we can do is we can start looking for our actual position. So we could almost do something like this. So what I will do is, if we get into this long over here, let's just have that. So what we can do is, if we get into our long over here, we can long until around 1.33150, and then once we get there, we can have our short and we can put our stops to break even on the long, and then we can either get taken out, have no TP on the long, either get taken out on the long, or price keep transacting higher, and maybe FOMC pushes price even higher. So that is something that I'm looking at on GBP USD. It does line up with DXY, as we need DXY to transact a little bit lower and then have a rally to the upside. Does that make sense? GBP USD and DXY, using them together? Let me know. Everything makes sense? Giving you guys some golden information here. Amazing. Okay, cool. Seems like everything makes sense to everyone. Okay, cool. Let's look at Euro. Okay. So Euro, yesterday we took a short. What I'm looking for is this. So Euro, we doing something also very similar. Okay, we're transacting within this pocket over here. So we're transacting within this pocket. Now what I will do is, look, we've already tested the 50 MA on the 4 hour, but I personally think we might slip a little bit higher. I personally think at around, this is where we're gonna see a pullback on Euro at around 1 point. Let's just turn. So at around 1.14098, that is where I see a little bit of a pullback. If we take this to this, we have seen that it's taken us already, but what we can do, so yeah, around that level, I could see a pullback around 1 point. I think also if we take our previous leg, we get it. Yeah. So Euro, also I'm looking to short this baby. Now we can take the aggregate amount and we can take EU 1 to 5. Okay. And then we have our stops. Just we can either take off the TCM, previous leg -27, whichever you may desire, and then we can look to rarely short EU, because now EU also needs to go further down. What I will do on EU is I'll aim for at least here. Why do I say that? Is we have a wickless 4-hour candle, and we can aim to the downside on EU and take out that wickless 4-hour candle. I'm almost 100% sure that if we do keep transacting to the downside, that will that will be the case. Does that make sense? So it's similar to GBP USD, but I actually do prefer this, if I'm being honest, to GBP USD at the moment. It's looking a little bit cleaner. Let me know if that makes sense. GBP Euro USD, sorry. Yeah, guys, hit the like button if you haven't already, so that I can keep doing what I love doing, keep giving you guys these streams on the daily. Hit that like button hard on the way in and on the way out. Let's check GBP JPY. Now, GBP JPY, this is what I want to do on GBP JPY. Let me... So this is what I've seen, is that I've seen, do you please determine I'm mathematically not looking? Yeah, mostly. I don't see us reversing to the upside. And even if we do reverse to the upside on Euro, then so be it. Because what I will do is I'll take a short from here, and then if we get down to this level, I will long for a small one. 1 to 3. Bang. Just like that. So this would be my plan on EU, to be very honest with you. Okay, GBP JPY. Like through a mental self-taught. To be honest with you, quite a few things. Quite a few things. Mentor, self-taught, basically all of the above. Okay, so let's look at GBP JPY. Now, GBP JPY is quite interesting. GBP JPY, what I'll show you on GBP JPY, this guy drinks strawberry matcha and 𝗬𝗓𝗙 𝗙𝗓𝗓. That's crazy, boy. Johnny. So what I'm looking for on GBP JPY is for a short, to be honest with you guys. I'll look for a short because now we've broken out of this little pocket, and then we short this baby. We can even take the full leg, and then I think it'll give us the 38. Just about. So, yeah. I think GBP JPY is also in need of a short. But it is a little bit more risky, to be honest with you. And I am a little bit hesitant about GBP JPY. Just because... Number one, I don't trade it as much as any of the other pairs. And I think I am 2 for 2 or 3 for 3 on GBP JPY. But I'm a lot more confident on GU and EU because I've traded them hundreds of times. Now, this is a possible short on GBP JPY. And I think if we do get into a short like this, what we can do is we can aim for around... Let's see what the movement is. So yeah, around 217. So around here. I will say around here. 217123. So around 106.4. But to be honest, I'm looking at the movement for the day on GJ, and it's basically maxed out, to be honest with you. It's basically maxed out. So that does does lead me to staying a bit cautious on GBP JPY. Okay. GA. Guys, GA. We said on the stream yesterday that we actually thought it won't come back. But boy, was I wrong. But to be fair, if I'm honest with you guys, it did come back at like 10 p.m. Do you know what I mean? And I actually forgot that I'd set the limit. You see, the problem is I have so many accounts because I'm trying to run up, like, I'm trying to do the challenge of $100. Then I have a main account. Then I have a smaller, like, $500 account. And I forget that I set all these limits on all these different little accounts. And then I come back wake up in the morning and I'll see, like, on Bybit or on Counterwise, it'll be like, boom, triggered. So, Chiff. What about Chiff pairs? Johnny, you want to tell them about Chiff? Johnny will tell you about Chiff in the chat. He'll give you a small little laugh about Chiff. To be honest with you, Chiff, I'm not a lover of Chiff pairs now because, to be honest with you, I haven't had great experience on them. Personally, not rare. Also, the price movement doesn't give it to you. Like, it gives you like 30 pips a day, which I'm not really that. I'm not interested in trading such a thing. Chiff. Johnny, you know about USD Chiff, my brother. So GA. Sorry, I nearly skipped GA. Let's go to GA. GA. Now, GA's price for the movement for the day is actually maxed out already. So GA I'm not interested in. To be honest with you, unfortunately, GA is a no-go. Do you set limits before FOMC or do you wait until after the release? Personally, what I'll do is, let's say, for example, we get into a trade. It's 9:30 in the morning. Okay? We get into a trade now. And then what we do is we hold that trade till around like 4:30 p.m. And then we can look to exit that position at around 4:35. And then before I would not have any limits set before, to be honest with you. It is risky. But I think, for example, if we can get into this EU short, I will hold that baby through FOMC. I'll just go break even because we're going to get a rejection. We're going to get a reaction on EU. It's a fact. So I will hold through FOMC, but I won't set limits and then wait. Like, that is risky. I wouldn't do such a thing. Okay, let's look at BTC. Oh. So BTC, we're having a little bit of a rally, eh? We're having a little bit of a rally to the upside. Now, where do I think BTC could stop? If I'm going to be honest with you guys, I see BTC stopping pretty soon. And I see BTC stopping at around 64,943, I would say. So we take our fib. It will be just in this region. So in this region. Now let's just see. Let's build a trade around this level. So we have our TCM level. Let's mark that out. Let's mark that out. Let me change the color of this baby though. Okay, so what we have is Sorry guys, I think my thing just cut. Yo everyone, can everyone hear me? Stream's fine on your guys' side? Sorry, it cut for like a second. I don't know what happened. Everyone can hear me? Okay, amazing. So, for BTC, what I'm looking for is this. So we have around this area. So around from the 78 till the 61.8. So from around the $500 range, to be honest with you, what I'm looking for. My main entry will be around, I would say, anywhere between around here, I would say. So let's make this a different color. And then what we can do is, if we look on the 15-minute time frame, if we look on the 15-minute time frame, so let's see if we take this low. So we have the 61.8 with the 78. Now if we take previous leg, we also have the 61.8 range and the negative 27 range. And now if we look at just this candle alone, let's go to the 4 hour. If we look at just this impulsive candle, then what we'll get is a 78. So what I'll look for is around, this is where we could see a bounce. But what I'll do is, because Bitcoin is highly, like, we have rejected off the 200 MA and price is most likely to transact a little bit higher than where we're looking to short from. What I'll do is, once price, so we can have a short position here. We have a 200 pip stop. What's the movement for the day? On BTC. Movement for the day, not so much. So we can have about a 250 pip. So we have like a 250 pip, $250 stop. And then what we can do is we aim for like the 200 MA or something like that. And then what we do is, still see you. Yeah, it's good. I think everyone should still be able to see it. So we can see price transact to the upside, bounce from this level and transact down. But what I'll do is I'll wait for an engulfing, because we are trying to kind of catch a falling knife here. So once we get that bearish engulfing, you guys know the procedure. 50%. Then what you can do is also even have a tighter stop. So then we have a tight stop, like just above the 78, and then we short this baby all the way down. So that's what I'll look for on BTC. Everything makes sense? Everything makes sense, guys. Amazing. Engulfing on 15 minutes. Facts. The reason I say engulfing, normally I'll just take the trade, but The reason I say engulfing is because, to be honest with you, it is a little bit risky because BTC does have a lot of potential to keep moving to the upside. So I am a bit, I will be rather safe than sorry, especially because BTC isn't my main pair. Anyways, BTC, cool. Gold. Okay, gold. What are we seeing on gold? So now gold, this is the gold we took on Friday, clean. So for gold is interesting. I'll leave gold for now. USD JPY. Small Q&A, sure, no problem, brother. Why not? Oh, USD JPY. USD JPY also in a pocket. I think most likely USD JPY will probably transact further to the upside. I'm just not entirely sure if there's possibility of an entry. Okay, now our favorite baby, our favorite of them all, NASDAQ. So what I'm looking for on NASDAQ now. NASDAQ has just broken the 50 MA on the 15-minute time frame, okay? But don't get mistaken. Now, what I think on NASDAQ is we're going to correct FOMC. We're most likely going to correct that whole move we had, that scandalous to the pump to the downside. What I'm looking for on NASDAQ is something like this, okay? Let's take a look. Now, if you look, also the MA, you see what's happened on the MA is the MA was quite flat. But it looks like what I'm looking for is our MA almost to do something like this. And it looks like this could be a possibility. So we want the MA to do that, and then we can see price transact further to the upside. So that's what I'm looking for on NASDAQ. And how we'll do that is we'll take this. We will have the 38. Let's wait for this 4-hour closure. Then we can either take the 50% of this candle and look to long the 50%. Or what we can do is take the 38 and take the MA. So that's what we can do on NASDAQ. And where do I see NASDAQ transacting to? I would say NASDAQ needs to go at least here. So we can see NASDAQ transact further to the upside. But this level over here needs to stop. We need to see NASDAQ come at least to the 50% of this zone. The move that we had on Friday, so at least over here, I would say. That's where I do see NASDAQ, to be honest with you guys. So like just around here. So around 28,230. That's where I see NASDAQ going. NASDAQ. And then what we can do is remember on the 4-hour, we have our 50 MA transacting. So if we can get to the 50%, so let's just take actually our fib. If we take the fib, we take Monday's move. Monday, yeah. So Monday's move to the downside. I'm not saying we need, like we're going to stop there and not transact higher. What I am saying is that price will at least get to around 28.2 today. it will take out at least 50% of Monday's move. So at least 50%. I'm almost sure. Does that make sense? I also, if you take the entire leg, you will see this. The 61.8 of the entire move is again at the 50% of Monday's move. So for us to have a healthy retracement, what we need to see is we need to see price transact to our 61.8, correct? And then we can see a small pullback, and then we can see a further transaction to the upside. But I'm just saying that for today, it won't stop there, but we will transact to at least the 50%. So now what we're just waiting for is NASDAQ to break the 50 MA properly on the 15-minute time frame. What time is, so in the next 2 hours 15 minutes, we have this 4-hour closure, so then we can look nicely for entries. Okay, so let's look at all the positions I've given you. Okay, so GBP USD, what I will do is the long is pretty decent. I'll send both to my Discord, but I will explain them properly in the Discord so that everyone can make sense of it. Let's look over everything. We've looked at GBP USD. We've looked that GBP USD is most likely to transact further to the downside after this little move to the upside. We've looked at DXY. We've looked at DXY looking to transact further to around 101,200. I've explained that to everyone. I've explained that DXY needs to transact around this level, and we should see a retracement from there. Now, I've looked at Euro USD. I've said that Euro, I want to transact, I want to short it around 1.14100, and I want to short it to around 1.13650, and then look for a long straight after that. Okay. GJ movement for the day already achieved. We'll stay away from that. GBP AUD, same thing. We've seen movement for the day already achieved. Stay away from that. BTC, we are looking for a transaction in the range of 65.1 and 64.7. And then what we have our smaller range, which is in between 64.9 and 64.820. And then what we're going to do is we're going to wait for a rejection, 15-minute engulfing, and then we'll short the 50% of that 15-minute engulfing, and we can target around 63.2. Gold, I'm not touching. NASDAQ, we know what we're looking for. NASDAQ, we're looking to transact a little bit higher, and then we're looking to long the absolute shit out of this baby. That makes complete sense to everybody. Everything makes sense. Let's shoot the Q&A. I'll give you guys 2 minutes to shoot any questions. I'll give you guys 2 minutes. Shoot some questions. What's up? Best trade is probably our Euro and NAS. Definitely. If GBP USD look clean, I would also take it. Will you put them in the Discord when you take them? 100%. 100%. How do you determine SL? I determine SL. I have a fixed SL as around 10 pips every single time. Always 10 pips on GBP USD. On Euro, I always have 5 pips. And then on BTC, I normally take the movement, the average movement for the day, and then I take 10% of that, which you guys will be able to do pretty soon. Do you think the stock market will continue its downtrend or recovery soon? I think like for NAS, I can speak about NAS, but nothing really really else. But for NAS and S&P, I do see NAS and S&P having a little bit of a retracement. Yeah, I could. Yeah, that'll be fine, brother. You know, we do also use Bybit as well, so that will be 100%. I can send you my ref. So I can send you the link where to sign up. I don't know if you have seen it, David, in the last, or maybe you already signed up with them. Let me know. Getting stopped out non-stop. I go B. Are you talking about count twice here, Frederic? 100%. David, I'll send it to you. Let me send you this thing quickly. Here we go. So I've dropped that in the Discord, in the chat, so you guys can use that. And then, yeah, guys. Unfortunately, I need to go, but thank you everyone for joining. It was a great stream. I really appreciate all of you. Great questions, and hit the like button on the way out, and we'll see you guys later on today.